I'd like to call the chairman of CALLERLAB, Harlan Kerr.
Unlike was said earlier, it's not 14 pages long. Therefore, I will be looking for duct tape later. Good evening, and thank you again for being here. As I said Monday morning, I want to thank the people who have historically been here since the beginning, who have done the work for well over 47 years now, down to our 14 new members who are here for the first time, and everyone in between. Charles Dickens, in Tales of Two Cities, wrote, "It was the worst of times, it was the best of times. It was the age of foolishness, it was the age of wisdom. It was the season of darkness and the season of light. It was the winter of despair and the spring of hope." Over the past 2 years, all of us have kind of been through experiences that are expressed in those words of Dickens. 3 years ago, at the convention in Richmond, I drove 4 other board members back to the airport. And on our way back to the airport, we were talking about how great the convention was, how much fun we had, how engaged the people were, and we were spending a lot of time talking about the new concept of focusing on sociability. I was kind of at the height of my career because I had just been elected chair to take over a year after that convention when Ken finished his term, and everything looked bright. June of that year, the EC met in Reno, Nevada, and we began planning the convention for the next year. We built our theme around sociability. We came up with some wonderful presentations. We chose keynote speakers. We went through the membership list. We chose presenters, and we were really excited about the convention. We met again in fall of that year, kind of finalized the plans for the convention. And as we rode towards New Year's, I was getting excited about this new convention where it would be Ken's last year as chair, and I would take over as chair not long after that, at the next convention after that. And then, shortly before the convention was supposed to begin, we, like the whole world, were slammed with COVID. Our dancing shut down. We were unable to venture out to get together with our fellow dancers and fellow callers. The convention had to be canceled. So it was the kind of the worst of times. I initially felt that this may be the death blow to square dancing and calling, and I was not in the greatest spirits throughout that time because suddenly I went from calling 9 times a week to calling no times a week. Suddenly all of us stopped from getting together with friends on a regular basis, dancing and having a good time, socializing as well as dancing, and we were sitting at home wondering what was going on. But I did think, this is going to be a short thing. This will take a few more weeks or so. COVID will be gone, the summer will come, and next year we'll be back on our feet again, and next fall I can start my classes again, and things will go fine. Well, weeks turned into months, which turned into years. And as that happened, I kept worrying about what would happen to the future of square dancing. But we are resilient, we are resourceful, we are dedicated, and above all, we want to see the survival of our activity. And callers did all sorts of things. They had Zoom dances. I was in the habit of doing 2 or 3 Zoom dances a week once they started. And I was amazed that I had not only had my local clubs coming to Zoom dances, I had people tuning in from Germany sometimes and from Australia. And I got to know this whole set of dancers in Australia who tuned into my Sunday night Zoom two-couple dance. And clubs use creative ways to keep in contact with their members. Clubs had Zoom meetings, one of my clubs had a once-a-month Zoom game night. There were newsletters sent out, the sunshine committees continued to function. The clubs kept connected. The callers kept calling even though it was not in person. In 1921, thanks to the great work of the Home Office, we thought, although I had thought we would not be able to get together again, Teresa and her team worked hard and long and put together a virtual annual meeting so we could get together that year. I was amazed at the turnout. I was amazed at how successful it was. The meeting was good. The thing that just knocked me off my feet was the social stations at the end. Among other things, in my social station, I got to meet Teresa's mom and dad because they came in on Zoom into my meeting for a while. And it was actually kind of pulled CALLERLAB much tighter together by having that virtual annual meeting that year, and kept us together until we could get together finally again here tonight. Despite that, the Board of Governors and the Executive Committee continue to do their work every day and through the weeks, continue to work hard to improve CALLERLAB. The Home Office had regular schedule, did their work, kept in communication with the membership, handled calls that were coming in. They operated as normal, even though there wasn't a convention and even though there wasn't face-to-face dancing going on. They are to be commended for their work they did that year. Then we got together finally and said, we are going to have a convention. And we started planning for this year. And we decided that our theme would be restart, reconnect, and restore. And those are things I want all of us to focus on, not only here this week, but when we go back home and start to work with our clubs again and open up square dancing in our home areas. Even without the devastating impact of COVID, we recognized beforehand that there was a need to restart with new approaches and new ways to look at things if we're going to start building the numbers of people who dance, building the diversity of people who dance, engaging a wider focus on sociability, and retaining our current dancers and callers. Square dancing is a highly social activity, and we need to bring that part of it to the forefront. A huge and important part of restarting focus is a focus on diverse and authentic ways of facilitating sociability. I encourage you all, as we've done through the convention, thanks to Mike Streetstrom's leadership, infuse every activity or every session with some sort of sociability action. And I would like you to do that with your clubs when you go home, and any festivals you might work with, think of how you can build sociability into them. Reconnecting to me includes making stronger bonds with each other as leaders, being more collaborative in our work, and focusing on rebuilding calling and square dancing across the country and across the 21 other countries that square dancing occurs in. Our collective knowledge and ideas are much stronger than our individual ones. We need to share our successes and our effective approaches and help each other as we face the challenge of revitalizing and growing the entire square dance community. To me, reconnecting also means establishing a much more open and shared interaction with our overseas partners. Our overseas members, as sometimes I feel, have been neglected, and it's my focus this year to really build up a stronger connection of all the countries involved in CALLERLAB and rising up the level of involvement of our foreign callers and getting more and more of our U.S. callers providing mini labs and other educational things that would engage overseas callers in wanting to become members of CALLERLAB. When I think about restarting, I reflect on how we do things differently, how we should do things differently as we move forward, and the importance of setting clear, specific, and attainable goals for rebuilding a stronger and more appealing square dance community. Therefore, I ask you to join me, the Board of Governors, and the Home Office in calling on the community in general in its unwavering resolve to revive square dancing and to develop your own goals of what you will do in these areas as we move forward. Here is the challenge I put to you. Think of 3 specific, attainable goals that you can accomplish in the next year that will focus on restarting, reconnecting, and rebuilding calling and dancing. I encourage you to set 3 goals for yourself. Work with your clubs and set 3 goals for each of the clubs you work with. Work with your local caller associations and set 3 attainable, realistic goals that they can accomplish working together. I want you to just take a minute, close your eyes, seriously, and think of how you will go about setting 3 goals for yourself in those areas over the next coming year, so that when you come back next year, you'll be able to say, these are my goals, this is what I did, this is what I accomplished. Go ahead, open your eyes. Some of you didn't close your eyes. I'm going to ask the Board of Governors and the Executive Committee to do the same, to set some real specific, attainable goals that we can take care of over the next year to ensure that we move square dancing forward and move calling forward and strengthen the community across the world. Once you set your goals, this is just the beginning. I want you to keep them in mind throughout the year and develop a specific plan on how you will obtain them. I want you to reflect on them frequently and share your progress and your successes with fellow callers. When we meet in Reno next year, I hope that every member, every committee, and every leadership group can report that they not only set 3 goals, but they actively worked on them and they attained them. I hope each of us can come back and say that this is what I accomplished this year, and in the areas of restarting. This is what I accomplished this year in the area of reconnecting. This is what I accomplished this year in the area of rebuilding. Together we can do this and bring back calling and dancing stronger than ever. One of the schools where I was principal was a school down in the shipyard area, what was the old shipyard area in Richmond, California. And phones off.
The principal.
Anyway, one of the schools I worked at was in an area of Richmond, California, where the shipyards were during World War II. And it's the site of the Rosie the Riveter National Monument. And every morning when I would drive to school, I'd have to drive past the monument and the huge billboard that had a picture of the real Rosie. There really was a Rosie the Riveter. She was a woman, an African-American woman from Richmond, California. And see the billboard of Rosie up there with her bandana on and her hand up and her muscle flexed, and the big words, "We can do it." I invoke those words here as I finish up. We can do it. We can restart, we can reconnect, and we can rebuild. And as a result, we can totally revitalize square dancing and calling. But it will take a commitment and hard work on behalf of all of us. Choose your goals, set your plans, make your commitment, and always remember that by working together, we can do it and we will do it. Thank you for being here. Have a good rest of the convention. I look forward to seeing you at the general meeting tomorrow morning.